Hello friends, I'm George, the nice medic gentleman. Welcome back to my channel guys. I hope that all of you are doing good. It's time for another episode of my fragrance challenge called 300 different scents in 300 days. And basically in this challenge I'm trying to wear 300 different scents as my scent of the day in 300 consecutive days. And in this video I'm going to cover days 36 to 42. For day 36 of this challenge, which was Monday of this week, I went with something from the Middle East that's relatively less known in the community. The brand is called Verve and the fragrance is called Royce Black. Now Verve is a sub-brand of Lattafa. As I said, it's relatively less known in the community, but they have a couple of fragrances. This is the only one that I have from that house, but this one is a really nice fragrance and I enjoy it a lot. This is a great alternative to Paco Rabanne's 1 million Prive, of course a fragrance that's been discontinued now and it's quite hard to get and it's very expensive. This here is all about the spicy opening that's mixed with some fruits. There's a nice apple note in the opening of this fragrance, and then the dry down, you got some cardamom, you got some iris, you got some sweetness from an amber note, or a very nice dark and sweet scent that's great for cold weather usage. If you enjoy my videos guys, I would really appreciate if you hit the subscribe button. That really motivates me to keep creating good content for you. Okay, let's move on to day 37, which was Tuesday of this week, and for that day I went with a fragrance from the house of rasasi called Daarej. Now this is probably one of the first Middle Eastern fragrances that I've ever got into my collection, and this is a very interesting alternative or a clone of a fragrance from the house of Valentino that's been long since discontinued. That fragrance is called Valentino V, and this is a great alternative to that fragrance. The fragrance in here is all about the combination of the sweet notes like vanilla, tonka bean and amber, and a lot of spices. I really enjoyed this fragrance. I enjoy the juice color, that slight purplish juice color that you get with this fragrance. Also, this has always been a good performer for me. On Wednesday, I went with a fragrance from the house of Lattafa that's called Khaaltat Royal. Now, this is one of those Lattafas that never really got a lot of hype. This is an unisex scent that leans a little bit to the feminine side, at least to my nose, and this is a very interesting fragrance that I don't think it's a straight up clone of any fragrance out there. This is a fruity mix. You got a nice apple note in here with some additional fruits, and then the dry down, you got vanilla, you got amber, you got musk, along with some spices. As I said, very sweet, very unisex scent that leans a little bit to the feminine Day 39 side. Of this challenge, which was Thursday of this week, I went with a fragrance from the house of Mancera called Jean Lowe Ombre. Of course, when you look at the bottle, you immediately recognize that this is a clone of Louis Vuitton's Ombre Nomad, and it's quite a decent clone. Like with the original, the main players here are rose, leather, amber, some spices and some fruits in the opening of this fragrance. Now it's not a super close scent-wise to the original scent. It lacks a bit of the sweetness, it also lacks a bit of the strong leather note, but still will get you pretty decently close to the original scent for a fraction of the price of the original. Probably about a tenth of the price of the original. You get nice packaging, you get a magnetic cap, which is a nice touch. You got decent performance, at least 8 hours of performance with a nice projection in the first hour and a half. You probably noticed that I'm currently wearing a different t-shirt, and that's because I had to actually re-record this part of the video. After the post-processing of the video, for some reason this particular part had horrible sound quality, so I have to do it again. So for day 40 of this challenge, I went with a fragrance from the house of Mancera called Baroque Rogue Extrait. This is of course a clone of Rouge 540 Extrait. Not a particularly good clone scent wise, because it's not super close to the original scent. This is less spicy, it's slightly sweeter. Think of this as a little bit more feminine version of BR540 Extrait or something like the EDT flanker to that fragrance. Performance here is decent, about 7 hours of performance with a pretty decent projection, but as I said, because of the ramped up sweetness and the less spiciness of this fragrance, I think it leans a little bit more to the feminine side. On Saturday, I wanted to treat myself with something that's been a personal favorite of mine, one of my best cheap discoveries of this year, from the house of Armaf, the Armaf Hunter Killer. This is a very good alternative to Mancera's red tobacco. It's softer, it's more wearable version of red tobacco, but still with great performance and great projection, great complement factor, a great scent for the colder months. I really dig this fragrance and the scent in here, and as I said, this has been one of my best cheap discoveries of the year so far. The only thing that I don't like, of course, is the super ugly bottle, probably the ugliest bottle in my collection. And for today, day 42 of this challenge, Sunday at least, that's the time when I'm recording this video, I went with one of the newest members of the Odyssey line from Armaf, called Odyssey Aoud. Now this is, some people are mistakenly calling this one a clone of Montal's Arabian Stonka. It's not that. This is a clone of Oud for Greatness from Initio. Maybe not a clone, but heavily inspired by fragrance. Compared to the original and even compared to the Lattafa's Oud for Glory clone, this thing is more wearable, it's less challenging, less spicy, less woody. I think this is slightly fresher and it's slightly sweeter compared to the original and compared to the Lattafa creation. To my nose, those two fragrances, the Lattafa and the original, have never been my personal favorites. I find them challenging and not so easy to wear, but Odyssey Aoud, actually I find it a lot easier to wear, and I'm actually enjoying this fragrance. I also really like the bottle, the coloring combination. The only problem is of course the bottle design and the fact that it has a glossy finish, so it's a fingerprint magnet. And one other thing that at least so far I've been, I found out in my testing of this fragrance is that it's not a great performer. I get somewhere between 6 to 7 hours. But so guys, in today's video, in today's episode of my challenge called 300 different scents in 300 days, I covered days 36 to 42 of this challenge. I hope that you found this video interesting. If you did, give it a like, and I also hope that I'm going to see you in my next video. And until then, stay safe and bye bye.